Court of Appeal determines that medical students graduating from the Saitam Private Medical College have the right to provisionally register with the Sri Lanka Medical Council. There is no Southern Development Authority, a statement by Minister S.B. Disanayake. A new program will be implemented to eradicate dengue next week, a statement by the President. US President Donald Trump sacks Acting Attorney General Sally Yates for defying executive order on immigration.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shade Silva.
And I'm Aishtara Pinto. Let's start off with a look at the stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena says he would introduce a new program for the eradication of dengue next week. The President made the statement during an event at the National Dental Hospital today.
The new 9-story building of the National Dental Hospital was declared open today. The building was constructed at a cost of 1.2 billion rupees. The President registered the first patient through the new computer system installed at the centre. The foundation stone for another building was laid today as well. Under the new program to eradicate dengue, I call on everyone to work more efficiently and with more commitment. I hope to introduce this new program next week. I heard rumours alleging that I have influence over the doctors' appointments to hospitals. After I was elected as president, I have not influenced the minister, secretary to the ministry or anyone else with regard to the appointment or transfer of any individual. I have not even made a single phone call regarding such matters. I have never spoken to anyone regarding the transfer of doctors when I was serving as a Minister of Health. I told that those matters must be solved by the heads of those institutions and it is not a matter that concerns me. When I was serving as a Minister of Health, I could not work in my capacity as I please. However, Minister Rajitha Senaratne will not have any issue. Not only Minister Rajitha Senaratne, all the ministers in the cabinet will have no issue. The ministers have a president above them who will not make any influence so that they can provide a better service.
කිසිදු බලපෑමක් නොකරන ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් ඉන්නේ මුළු ඇමතිවරුන්ටම මේ 2010 දී.
When the President was made the Minister of Health in 2010, he made allocations for the construction of this building. It is in fact fate that the President is declaring open this building at a time when I am serving as the Minister of Health. The dental institution is a creation that came about after the government was established following the 8th of January.
එක්තරා දයෝපගත සිදුවීමක් තමයි මේ දන්තායක.
The Court of Appeal determined today that medical students graduating from the Saitam Private Medical College in Malabay had the right to provisionally register with the Sri Lanka Medical Council. The order was issued after considering a petition filed by Saitam graduate Dilmi Kasunda Malshini Suryarachi. The case was heard before Court of Appeal President Justice Vijit Malalgoda and Justice S. Turayraja.
The petition cited the Sri Lanka Medical Council as the first respondent, Saitam as the second respondent, the Ministry of Higher Education as the third respondent, the UGC as the fifth respondent and the Ministry of Health as the sixth respondent. Court held that the petitioner has a legal right for the performance of a legal duty from the first respondent, the Sri Lanka Medical Council, to provisionally register her under Section 29(2) of the Medical Ordinance as amended, since she has fulfilled the necessary requirements under the said ordinance. Accordingly, Court granted a writ of certiorari quashing the decision of the Sri Lanka Medical Council to refuse provisional registration to the petitioner, a writ of mandamus compelling the Sri Lanka Medical Council to register the petitioner provisionally as a medical practitioner in terms of Section 29(2) of the Medical Ordinance as amended, and a writ of prohibition preventing the Sri Lanka Medical Council from refusing to register the petitioner provisionally as a medical practitioner in terms of Section 29(2) of the Medical Ordinance as amended. President's Counsel Ramesh De Silva appeared for the petitioner, while President's Counsel Ikram Mohammed appeared for the first respondent and President's Counsel Faiz Mustafa appeared for the second respondent.
Court determined that the Sri Lanka Medical Council should grant us provisional registration. Various factions constantly levelled allegations at us, the private medical college. They slung mud at us. All of these allegations were rejected by court, where they confirmed that none of these allegations have a legal basis. This verdict is one that ensured free education for everyone in this country. A lot of our resources were taken out of the country, and now with this judgment, that money will come into the country again. Today, our children do not need to travel overseas for higher education or medical education. They can get their degree from Sri Lanka itself. As a free nation, we commend the free education which has been given to us living in this country. We see this as an important milestone.
A group including State University medical students and officials of the Government Medical Officers Association were present in the court premises when the order was issued. Meanwhile, another group staged a silent protest close to the court complex.
We respect the appeal court's judgment. However, as the Government Medical Officers Association, we have a criticism towards groups who do not have the required standards to provide medical services in the country's health sector. The GMOA is one of Asia's most powerful trade unions with 106 branches to its name. We have decided to convene an emergency central working committee meeting. This meeting will be a crucial one where several important decisions will be taken on behalf of the patients of the country.
Meanwhile, several protest movements were held this afternoon in areas including the National Hospital in Colombo.
Voice Against Corruption points out that the most recent report of the Auditor General reveals how authorities ensured that their friends and acquaintances received all the benefits. The report, which was compiled based on a request of the Minister of Finance, details the transactions of central bank treasury bonds over the past 8 years.
On the 19th of August 2016, the Minister of Finance made a written request from the Auditor General to submit a report which answers specific queries on the bond transactions of the Central Bank from 2008 to 2015. In response, the Auditor General said that he would compile such a report even though it does not fall under his direct purview, taking into consideration the national relevance of the request. According to the report, treasury bonds had been issued to primary dealers through direct placements during the period between 2008 and 2015. However, primary dealer Perpetual Treasuries, who has been linked to allegations of a bond scam, only received 2.5 billion rupees worth of direct placements through 13 bond issuance in 2014. However, during the controversial bond issuance which took place on the 27th of February 2015, after Ranjinramanayake took the helm of the central bank as its governor, Perpetual Treasuries obtained bonds worth 5 billion rupees. Even though the central bank only called for tenders worth 1 billion rupees, the central bank ended up issuing treasury bonds worth 10 billion. Allegations were levelled that the decision to increase the value was not informed to the primary dealers. This allegation was also accepted by then CBSL Governor Ranjinramanayake. This report makes it crystal clear that Perpetual Treasuries, which is owned by the son-in-law of Ranjinramanayake, obtained treasury bonds worth 2.5 billion during the course of 2014. However, this figure rose to 75 billion in 2015. Even though this was obtained through tenders, the sudden increase from 2.5 billion to 75 billion clearly shows how the father-in-law and son-in-law acted. It is clear that this deal, which caused a major loss to the central bank as well as the EPF, was clearly planned out. In a few days, we can see how much he purchases in 2017. Why? Because his father-in-law is no longer in control. The activities of some of the leading ministers of the UNP to justify these actions are simply disgusting. We will not allow them to cover up anything. We will ensure that those who committed fraud are punished and that the money that was stolen is returned.
Auditor General Gamini Vijayasinghe spoke exclusively to Newsfirst today.
So you will not allow any wrongdoer to go into hiding?
We are probing transactions in the present day. The wrongdoers regarding these are at arm's length. My duty is to point out that is wrong. I will do that as soon as possible.
But we do not see any decisions being made by the very institutions that are responsible to hold these people accountable. Can you be satisfied with that?
This process takes a long time. It is not a simple task. For punishments to take place, the process must reach the courts. The respective background must be created for that. When you take a look at all the incidents which took place in the past, everything is heading in that direction. But I do not know whether the remaining steps will happen. Whether or not the future course of action takes place is beyond my control. It must be done by those institutions.
It was said that an Audit Act will be introduced. What happened to that?
The Audit Act is pending.
What is the status of that?
I was sent a copy of the final report on the 6th of January. The legal draftsman has directed that report to the Secretary to the Prime Minister. It is not a public document yet. We hope it will be gazetted as soon as possible in the future. After that, we can discuss the report.
The Sri Lanka Audit Service Association convened a media briefing earlier this evening.
Certain political leaders have begun saying that the reports of the Auditor General are wrong, or perhaps that the procedure followed is wrong, to cover up their own fraud and corruption. We see this as an attempt to protect the corrupt and their activities, and also to create a mindset among the general public that the reports of the Auditor General are not up to standard. All of you are aware that the Auditor General's report is the only evidence to prove if there has been any kind of irregularity here or if they have violated the proper procedure. The Auditor General's report is the only report which exposed that the country has incurred a loss.
There is a paper article here which reports the World Bank as saying that the audit report on the bond issue is in violation of the universal system. We contacted the World Bank and requested the report which was sent to them. And here is that report. This report was submitted to the Secretary to the Prime Minister on the 7th of December 2016. Nowhere in this report does it say that the audit report is in violation of the universal system. Therefore, the report in this newspaper is an absolute lie. This lie has been based on a report sent by the Prime Minister's office. When the Auditor General makes a statement on a professional basis, he follows other audit and accounting standards to base his statement. So even the report on the bond issuance was compiled by following these procedures. Therefore, this audit report has been drafted in accordance with relevant parties and professional measures.
A daily newspaper today reported that the UNP leadership has decided to reorganize the party starting this week. Former seniors of the United National Party say the party leadership resorts to such reorganizing measures whenever the leadership is challenged.
The Lanka and Daily Mirror newspapers report that the UNP leadership decided to reorganize the party to face the opposition and extremist elements who are out to sabotage the government's development process. The newspapers report that party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe had instructed party seniors yesterday with regard to reorganizing the United National Party. Over the years, the United National Party on a number of occasions resorted to reorganization. The conjecture of former senior party activists is that these reorganizations were never seen the reason for victory. Here are some of those instances. At a time when there was opposition from within the party calling for a leadership change, in the year 2000, at the party convention in Kandy, a full-time general secretary was appointed. Following the 2004 loss, several new positions including a new deputy general secretary was created in a bid to control the unwelcome tensions that brewed from within the party. With the breakaway of 17 UNP members, several changes were made to the party's constitution, including the expanding of the working committee in order to control the internal revolts that arose in 2006. With the growing rancor over the lifetime leadership of the party, constitutional changes were made with the appointment of a committee led by Joseph Michael Pereira to come about with a process in selecting the party leadership. A constitutional change was made in the year 2012 with the inclusion of the clause stating that elections for the party leadership should be held every 6 years or following a major national election. Former senior party activists believe that continuous changes being made through the appointment of various positions simply to secure the leadership is the result of continuous defeats in elections. After 1994, a UNP leader never became the head of state. This is a serious situation. A government of good governance has been created and the grassroots level UNP supporters are dissuaded. Reorganizing can take place with calls for the protection of the party aimed at rebuilding the trust that has been broken with the political tussle. However, the ultimate objective must be to protect the party and the leadership. This might be a propaganda attempt or an attempt to undermine the grievances of the people.
Completely eliminated the leadership at village level, and he appointed puppets from Sirikota to go ahead with the party reorganization. That completely destroyed the grassroots level organization of the party. Always when the UNP leader is under threat or the leadership is under threat, what he does is he brings some kind of reorganization. the reorganization theory is bought. And the attention of all the people are diverted towards the reorganization and not the leadership. This has been his tactic from the very day he took over the leadership of the UNP. This has been Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's modus operandi always. Now presently, many of the members of parliament in the UNP are totally disgruntled as to what is happening, because there is one club. There are a few members who are very, very, very close to him who are calling the shots. So the other members of parliament who have been appointed from rural areas have got nothing to offer to their masses or to their voters. So they are totally disgruntled and they want a change. So this is what Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe must understand. 20 years in opposition. Could Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe get 113 UNP members of parliament to secure the majority? No, he couldn't get that. Thanks to His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena, he was able to form a government. The 2 years have gone, and we are going from one scenario to the other, from one debacle to another. So therefore, it is time, Mr. Wickremesinghe, to live by your motto, Diske au Diske De, learn or depart.
How can the government appoint officials to the Southern Development Authority and carry out operations when the authority has been repealed? This question was raised by reporters at a briefing presided over by Minister SP Disanayake.
The Divinaguma department was created by the merger of the Samudra Authority, Upcountry Development Authority and the Southern Development Authority. Thereby the Upcountry Development Authority and the Southern Development Authority were dissolved. However, when this government was established, a new development ministry for the Northwestern Province was created. A separate ministry was also created for the South. Therefore, without those two institutions in place, we are carrying out our two separate projects for the Northwest and South.
දකුණටත් එහෙම වෙනම
ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබතුමා නැවතත් මේ දක්ෂිණ සංවර්ධන අධිකාරියයි විරාට සංවර්ධන අධිකාරියයි බලාත්මකයි කියලා ඔබතුමා
නෑ නෑ කිසිම බලාත්මකකමක් නෑ.
ඒ සඳහා තනතුරු තාන්නමාන පත්
නෑ නෑ කිසි දෙයක් නෑ. එයා අපේ ළඟ ඉන්නේ දැන්. ඒ සියලු දෙනා අපේ ළඟ ඉන්නේ.
ඔව් එමතුමා නමුත් පහුගිය දවස්වල මේ
In the recent past, the agreement for the Hambantota port was signed. The draft was created, so when it was presented to the Committee on Economic Development, an individual by the name of Shiranta Herat signed the document in the capacity of chairman of the Southern Development Authority. How did that happen?
සිරන්ත හේරත් කියලා ඒක උනේ කොහොමද?
එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ.
ඒක තමයි ඔබතුමා මේ දින ඔබතුමා ඒ අස්සම් කරපු එක.
ඒක වරදක්. එහෙම දක්ෂිණ සංවර්ධන අධිකාරියක් තියෙන්න බෑ. ඒක විසිරවල ඉවරයි.
එතකොට ඔබතුමා මෙහෙම අස්සම් කරේ කොහොමද? දැන් ඔබතුමා රජයේ කැබිනට් ඇමතිවරයෙක්. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය කියන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවේ
I saw that this was challenged in court. I think it is wrong and will be rectified. It will be rectified through a judicial process. It has been discussed within the government as well. It will be rectified. There is no such person in that capacity. We did not know of that, and we do not know of that. We will get to know about that when we go to courts. There is no such authority called the Southern Development Authority or the Upcountry Development Authority.
5 suspects have been arrested in connection to an assault that took place last night in the Arasadi area in Jaffna.
The attack was carried out by a group travelling in motorcycles. A shop in the Arasadi junction was damaged due to the attack carried out while 2 of its employees had sustained injuries. Our correspondent said that the injured are receiving treatment at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital. The arrested suspects are scheduled to be produced before court tomorrow.
One of the problems is that when these youth or even we get angry, we do not know how to control it. We do not know how to suppress it. We need to learn how to control our anger. That is how we prevent issues from arising. We need to know what to do when we get angry. We need to teach these kind of things to our children. This needs to be taught at schools and homes. Then these issues can be overcome.
When Newsfirst made inquiries from police, it was said that a special program will be implemented to prevent such issues occurring in Jaffna. Police also stated that mobile patrols have also been deployed in the Jaffna district.
The government of Japan has conferred Speaker Karujai Surya with the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun. This is incidentally the first occasion on which the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun has been conferred upon a Sri Lankan.
Even though arrangements had been made for the awarding of the Order of the Rising Sun by Emperor Akihito at the Imperial Palace of Japan on the 8th of November 2016, Karujai Surya was unable to attend the ceremony due to the demise of his younger daughter. Therefore, the order was awarded to Karujai Surya at a special function held at the Japanese Embassy in Colombo this evening. Other recipients of the Grand Cordon of the Order of the Rising Sun in 2016 also include former Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating, former Speaker of the United States House of Representatives John Boehner, former Prime Minister of the Philippines Cesar Enrique Aguinaldo Virata, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea Dr. Han Sung-jo. According to the Japanese government, the award is a recognition of Karujai Surya's significant contribution in promoting bilateral relations between Japan and Sri Lanka.
The Grand Cordon is the highest order that a foreign person can receive. And of course, this is the first time a Sri Lankan has been bestowed upon this order from the Emperor of Japan based on the recommendation of the government of Japan.
By conferring this great honor, His Majesty and the Japanese government has shown its highest regard for the people of Sri Lanka. This gesture can also be considered as a token of very strong friendship that exists between our two countries. Your Excellency, we are in a changing and a challenging world. I am sure that our two nations would be able to work together to establish peace, prosperity and happiness to the people of the world.
Karujai Surya first began his public service in 1956 when he took office as a commissioned officer of the Sri Lankan Armed Forces. Thereafter, Jayasuriya launched his successful business career, during which he served as the chairman, CEO and director of 52 private sector companies as well as public quoted companies. By 1997, Karujai Surya was elected as the mayor of Colombo and served in this position for a period of 2 years before contesting the Western Provincial Council polls in 1999 as the UNP's chief ministerial candidate and went on to become the opposition leader of the council. In 2001, he took the next step in his political career and was elected to Parliament. He first served as the Minister of Power and Energy from 2001 to 2004 before taking up responsibilities as the Minister of Public Administration and Home Affairs in 2007. A former chairman and deputy leader of the UNP, he entered Parliament this time around through the UNP National List and became the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of Sri Lanka.
Views were expressed at a media briefing convened by the United National Party today on the charges which are being raised against Deputy Minister Ranjinramanayake for allegedly reprimanding a state official.
Ranjinramanayake මැතිතුමා කියලා කියන්නේ Development Sambandhikara Committee Sabha.
Ranjinramanayake is the chairman of the Development Coordinating Committee who was elected by the votes of around 200,000 people of the Gampaha district. So when he inquires into an issue, he is told to ask it in writing or make a complaint if he wants to. What was the reason for this issue? That person is wrong to a certain degree and he was pushed to that limit because of that. The tone he used on that female official was wrong. That is my personal opinion. There was something wrong with the tone he used but nothing wrong with the content. It was the divisional secretary who pushed him to use that tone on her. So if someone is asking Ranjinramanayake to make an apology, then first and foremost the divisional secretary must be changed. She has been serving in that position for 7 years. She must be changed and the allegations which have been raised against her must be examined. So if that is being done, then there is an issue with Ranjinramanayake's tone, but if it isn't, then there isn't an issue with Ranjinramanayake's tone either.
The Pathfinder Foundation has proposed the establishment of an ocean research institute in the Kattathivu island.
The island of Kattathivu spans across an area of 285 acres and is located 12.4 nautical miles northwest of the Delph Island and 13.3 nautical miles northeast from Rameswaram, India. In 1974, several rounds of talks took place between then Prime Minister Sirimava Bandaranaike and then Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi over the rights of Katchadheeva Island. Following the discussions, both sides reached a consensus on a maritime boundary. Thereafter, it was accepted that Katchadheeva belongs to Sri Lanka. Based on the agreement that was reached, Indian fishermen were given permission to enter the island without a visa to dry their fishing nets and engage in religious observances. According to the agreement, Indian fishermen are prohibited from fishing in the waters surrounding the Katchadheeva island. Admiral Dr. Jayanath Columbage says the fishing activities by Tamil Nadu fishermen are visible in the waters surrounding Katchadheeva and Delft.
There is no issue because the island of Katchadheeva belongs to Sri Lanka. However, we must bring an end to the fishing issue which directly affects the economy of the local fishing communities. In addition, if the marine resources in our waters deplete, that will be an issue for the future generations as well. The Pathfinder Foundation continues its studies on this matter. As a solution to this issue, we propose for the establishment of an ocean research institute in the island of Katchadheeva. We hope to incorporate all the respective institutions and conduct a study on the damages caused to the local fishing industry and the marine resources. The creation of such an institution is of paramount importance.
In international news, US President Donald Trump has sacked the country's acting Attorney General after she took the rare step of defying the White House by refusing to enforce its sweeping immigration ban.
Early yesterday, Sally Yates had ordered Department of Justice lawyers to stop defending Trump's executive order, resulting in her dismissal just hours later. A White House statement accused Yates of betraying the Justice Department and being weak on borders. Trump replaced her with Dana Boente, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Trump also replaced the acting director of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Daniel Ragsdale, who has been in the post since the 20th of January. He was also the former deputy director. No reason was given for Ragsdale's sacking. He has been replaced by Thomas Homan, the Executive Associate Director of Enforcement and Removal. Protests continued over Donald Trump's immigration executive order banning people from 7 predominantly Muslim countries as police clashed with protesters in Columbus, Ohio, spraying pepper spray at the group. Hundreds of people marched through the streets of Ohio capital, and after standing in traffic for several minutes, police dispersed the crowd using pepper spray. Hundreds of Google employees gathered outside its Mountain View headquarters to protest Trump's executive order. The Wall Street Journal reported that an email sent by Google CEO Sundar Pichai said that 187 employees of Google were impacted by the executive order. Early in the afternoon, nearly 1,000 Google employees held a similar march and rally against the ban in San Francisco.
Sri Lanka recorded a 214-run victory against New Zealand in the second T20 Cricket World Cup for the blind. Batting first in the game, which was played in Delhi, India, Sri Lanka posted 334 runs without losing a single wicket in their 20 overs. Ruwan Wasantha was unbeaten on 170, while his opening partner Suranga Sampath remained on 146. Chasing the massive target, New Zealand only managed to score 120 in 20 overs, losing 7 wickets. And that's a wrap of your Primetime News. I'm Aisha Pinto.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.